we are respected as a country again. They respect us. Because other countries have been ripping us off so badly, and some of the worst offenders are our so-called allies. They rip us off on trade. European Union is worse to us on trade than China, okay? Nobody would think that. You know, a lot of us come from European Union. We come from Europe, our grandparents, our great-grandparents. So you think, oh, isn't that nice? Except they kill us, the European Union. It was formed in order to beat us economically. And yet we protect them with NATO. So they rip us off on trade, and we protect them with military. But here's the problem with the protection. They're not paying their bills. So the United States, I got $100 billion more in the last 2 years, $100 billion. I got them to pay. I said, you got to pay. Nobody else has ever done that. It was like this. It was like this with every other president. President Obama would go meet them. He'd talk nice, you know. I don't know. To me, not so nice. Some people would say, oh, isn't it a wonderful speech? I said, no, I fell asleep during that speech. I fell asleep. I don't get it. I don't get it. And he never got crowds like we get. That I can tell you, huh? So we got to be doing something else. But think of this. So they weren't paying their bills. So we're paying for close to 100% of NATO. So we're getting it straightened out, folks. We're getting it straightened out. Somebody said, President Obama is much more popular in Germany than Donald Trump. Well, he should be. He should be. Because Germany is the biggest offender. They don't pay. They're paying 1%. We're paying 4.3% of a much bigger GDP. Germany doesn't want to pay. They're supposed to pay 2%. They're paying 1%. And I say, got to pay, Angela. You got to pay, Angela. Please pay, Angela. And then they say, who do you like better? Obama or President Trump? Oh, I like President Obama. He was a nice... Look, if I start getting good poll numbers over there, I'm not doing my job, okay? That's the way it is. It's true. I'm not doing my job. But they still like me. And I have a good relationship and a great relationship with some. But somehow, even in this era of unprecedented prosperity and peace, the timeless traditions and values that make the American dream possible are under attack like no one has ever seen before. These people have lost all control. And even the Democrats, they're left, but now they're getting dragged into a radical left position. I can't imagine who's doing that. But they're being dragged radical left with these people that I believe, honestly, I believe they hate our country, okay? I believe they hate our country. And it's true, when I watched this maniac Tlaib screaming and shouting, and this was before she was a congressperson, can you believe it? But screaming and shouting, out of control. And then you see they have now another clip where she's even worse. This is representing us. This is not what we want representing us, I don't think. And I think it's why we're going to have a tremendous victory in 2020. These people are crazy. Thank you. So I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know. They have a big problem because they have others than these four. I could name another 20 right now without looking at a note. I could name another 20 that I think are in many ways worse. They're worse. They're not in this group, but they're worse than this group. And they're Democrats. And at some point we will be naming them, if you don't mind, because we want to get the word out. We have to get the word out. As conservatives, we're grateful for the great heritage that we have, the heritage of being an American, so important to all of us. We know that America is the most just and virtuous republic ever conceived. I mean, we fight for other countries. I was with other countries 2 weeks ago, and we had the G20. And I'm talking to different people. Who do you fight for? Just our country. Who do you fight for? Just our country. Who do you fight for? And we fight for all these countries. And it costs us a fortune. And some of the countries are really wealthy. By the way, I've gone to all of them, say they have to now pay for their military. Okay, if you don't mind that, okay. They haven't done it. on the Straits. So we get very little oil from the Straits anymore. In fact, yesterday was very interesting. They said, it's very interesting, there are no USA tankers here. They're all from China, from Japan. China gets 65% of their oil from the Straits, right? Japan gets 25%. Other countries get a lot. And I said, so let me ask you just a really stupid question. We hardly use it. We're getting 10% only because we sort of feel an obligation to do. We don't need it. We've become an exporter. Can you believe it? We're an exporter now. We don't need it. And yet we're the ones that for many, many decades, we're the ones that policed it. We never got reimbursed. We police it for all these other countries. And I said a while ago, I said, why are we policing for China? Very rich. For Japan, very rich. For all these other, and we're policing also for countries, some of whom we're very friendly with, like Saudi Arabia and others, UAE, others too. But why are we doing it without getting, why do we have our ships there? And we're putting our ships in the site. And we did shoot that drone the other day. You know, it's funny, for religious people, they lie a lot. They lie a lot. You can see it laying right down on the bottom of that beautiful bed of water. No, they say they never shot down a drone. And then they say about, we have captured 17 American spies. No, that's first thing I did. I call up the CIA. True? Sir, totally false. Okay. By the way, totally false. But they make up stories. I just say for religious people, they lie a lot. We know the story of America is the story of good defeating evil. We protect so many people. And in some cases, we shouldn't have been doing it. It's right overcoming wrong, and it's freedom smashing tyranny. Americans are the patriots who threw off an empire, won an independence, settled the Wild West, ended slavery, secured civil rights, pushed the boundaries of science, vanquished the Nazis, brought communism to its knees, and put a man on the moon many, many years ago. Right? And we will become the first nation to land astronauts on Mars, where they will proudly plant a very beautiful American flag. Yet despite all that we have achieved, despite the glory and grandeur of our nation, the radical left has nothing but contempt for America's heritage. And I'm talking about the radical left among us. I'm not talking about the radical left that are looking over failed countries like Venezuela and others. I'm talking about the radical left among us. They see our history as a source of shame, our traditions and our victories as relics to be replaced, our values as obstacles to be removed, our citizens as subjects to be controlled, and America as a menace to be constrained. That's what they see. That's what they see. The agenda of the radical left is one of division, discord, and demolition. You know, when I see her running and ranting and screaming like a total lunatic, this is what we're dealing with, okay? You can never have a country with values like that. Just look at it. There's no reasoning. The language she uses. I mean, she was throwing a certain F-bomb, right? Do we know the F? She was throwing that out about the presidency and about the president. It's just such a sad thing to see how low have we gone. The far left has one fundamental objective, and that's the objective of power, the power to control you, the power to control your family, and the power to destroy the foundations of our great republic. But we will not let them. It will never happen. It will never happen. But you have to be very careful. Socialism is not as easy to beat as you think. When you're wealthy and you're doing record stocks and you have 401ks and you have all of the things that you have and everybody's doing well, and somebody comes along and says, we're going to give you free everything, everything's going to be free. When I'm up there on the debate all alone with some maniac that they chose, and that maniac is saying, we're going to do this for you. We're going to do that for you. We're going to give you everything. We're going to give you, everybody gets a free Rolls Royce. Every family. And we're going to take better care of illegal immigrants than we take care of our own citizens, they tell you. And when they're saying all of this stuff, and then those illegals get out and vote, because they vote anyway. Don't kid yourself. Those numbers in California and numerous other states, they're rigged. You got people voting that shouldn't be voting. They vote many times, not just twice, not just 3 times. They vote, it's like a circle. They come back, they put a new hat on. They come back, they put a new shirt on. And in many cases, they don't even do that. You know what's going on. It's a rigged deal. The hard left is also waging war against freedom of speech. The greatest threat to this radical left agenda is the truth. And the problem is we're not getting the truth from the media, for the most part. Some, yes. But for the most part, we don't get the truth. I can tell you stories where I'll do something, and let's say it's good. They'll make it look bad. Let's say it's great. Things that you can't look bad. You can. They'll make it look okay. And if it's bad, that is correct. That is correct. What they're doing is unthinkable, and they've hurt themselves so badly. They'll say, 7 sources have said that this took place in the White House or something. There are no 7 sources. They make them up. You know what? They make them up. There were no. They have gone. They used to call up and say, "Would like to just verify this statement or verify a quote." They don't even call up anymore. We don't hear from the New York Times, which is totally crooked. We don't hear from the New York Times, the Washington Post, which is the Amazon. I always say it's the Amazon lobbyist. We don't hear from these people. They don't call up and say, "We'd like to check a quote." I don't see anymore where they say, Jim Smith of the White House made the following statement. It's always a source who decided to remain anonymous from the White House. Sometimes they'll say 7 people from the White House. They don't exist. It's a lie. They do it. They don't check. They don't do anything. They're really, really dishonest people. And I'll tell you, when I say the enemy of the people, when I say the fake news, when I say these things, I'm not kidding. It's really dishonest. They have become, you know, they like the word unhinged. They have become, the media has become totally unhinged. They used to call. I used to get the greatest publicity. When I was doing buildings, I was happy. No problems. I was doing buildings. I didn't have to worry about North Korea, Iran. I didn't have to worry about China and trade. You think it's easy beating China on trade? Guess what? We're beating them on trade. We're beating them on we're beating everybody. But it's not easy. But I used to get the best publicity. Now I haven't had a good story in 2.5 years. I'm dying for my first good story. They're going to give me one someday. I think when I get one, it'll be time. I'll say, I've just achieved something. I'll say, First Lady, they love our First Lady. They said, First Lady, they love our First Lady. Say, First Lady, I just got a good story. It's time to hang it up. It's time. Someday we're going to get them. We're going to get them because nobody's done what we've done in 2.5 years. Nobody even close. We've done in the first 2.5 years more than any president in the history of our country. So anyone who speaks the truth is shouted down, censored, deplatformed, fired, expelled, harassed, intimidated, abused, and even, in many cases, assaulted. But they don't go after certain of our people. Bikers for Trump. You ever see these guys? The bikers. They leave them alone. Our construction workers. They leave them alone. Our law enforcement. They leave them alone. Anybody that looks real tough and real nasty, they leave them alone. They only go after somebody that stands there and is not a fighter. Nothing wrong with that. And they beat the hell out of him and they pummel him like what happened 2 weeks ago. They pummel him. That's the only one they go after. They'll go after that. They say, is he a fighter? No, let's hit him over the head with sticks and bats. What they do. It's a horrible thing. But they don't do it to many of our people. But they look for the people that aren't the fighters. These dangerous behaviors are the hallmarks of socialism. But socialism cannot survive when people are free to think for themselves. That's why America will never be a socialist country. It's never going to happen. Because as patriots, we cherish our First Amendment. We believe that every American has the God-given right to speak his or her mind, and no one can ever take away that right. For centuries, Americans freely exchanged their ideas in the public square. Now the public square exists online, and massive multinational tech companies have gained enormous power to censor opinions, shape public perception, and really to decide what information citizens are going to be given. And I see it all the time. I see it on social media for me. And I have people coming up all the time, we want to follow you, sir. They make it so hard to follow you. And I have millions and millions of people. But it should be much more. I know exactly what's happening. I know when it started. But the only thing I do say is this. It's happened from the beginning. Facebook, Twitter, Google, all of them, right? And they come to me when they want help. They want help because the Democrats want to shut them down. Can you believe it? How stupid is that for them? But maybe they don't have the power that we think, because they were totally against me in the election. And I'm standing now before you as the President of the United States. So maybe they don't have the power. A free society cannot allow social media giants to silence the voices of the people. That is why I've asked my administration to explore every possible regulatory and legislative solution, because you have to have free speech. You have to have free speech. And by the way, I'm president of all the people, everybody. I love everybody. I have people maybe I shouldn't love. I love this nation. This nation is made up not only of us, it's made up of everybody. But what they do is so unfair. Any college that refuses now to respect your First Amendment rights will be asking for billions and billions of dollars, and they won't be getting it. They won't be getting it. Sorry. All signed up. Anyone can become a target of the left's brutal campaign to punish dissent. Hey, I'm the #1 target in the world. And here we are, but I'm the #1 target. Who's more of a target than me? No matter what you do, I'm the great target for these people. These people are crazy. Earlier this year, in Park City, Utah, a leftist released pepper spray into a high school auditorium to shut down a Turning Point USA meeting. 20 students and teachers had to immediately seek major medical attention. Think of that. One of the students from that school joins us today, Ryan Zink. Ryan, where are you, Ryan? Get over here, Ryan. Come on up. Come up. Come up here. Say a few words.
Hi, everybody. I do believe the free speech in our schools is currently at stake. Us conservative students, there are many cases, myself, some other people that I've met here and across the country, are being silenced, are being shut down by whether it be their schools, teachers, friends. We're not being listened to properly. And our voices need to be proudly expressed, and we cannot be silenced.
You know, he had no idea that was going to happen, but he started to like it. I said, you know, this could be a long time. He'll be in office someday or doing something fantastic. Thank you, Ryan. Great job. In May, faculty at West Haven High School in Connecticut tried to ban the local chapter of Turning Point USA because students hung up a sign that read, "America is the best country in the world." Can you believe that? It is the best country in the world. One Board of Education member viciously smeared the students as racists, sexists, bullies, who are brainwashed by their Republican parents. Oh. But the attacks have only strengthened the group's resolve, and membership has skyrocketed since then. We are winning. We are winning. With us today is that Turning Point USA chapter president, Dan Gallipoli. And Dan, I want to just thank you for that fight. Where's Dan? Dan, you want to come up, Dan? Come on up, Dan. He wants to come. Come on. Come on up. Yes, come on up.
Hi, everyone. It's great. It's so great to be here. It's such an honor. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Turning Point USA, for all of your support and for helping us with the fight for free speech on campus, no matter what they say. No matter the teacher, no matter the student, no matter the faculty, we will stand up for what we believe in.
Whoa. That's fantastic, Dan. Now I see why he's president of his chapter. Who wants to fight him? Thank you, Dan. Great job. Last year, Hunter Richard. Where's Hunter? Hunter. You want to come up, Hunter? Do you want to? Come on up, Hunter. Hunter's a high school sophomore in San Antonio, Texas. Great place. He just wanted to get a hamburger with a couple of his friends. And Hunter happened to be wearing a beautiful red cap that said, "Make America Great Again." And a 30-year-old man flew into a rage, stole Hunter's hat, threw a drink at him, and called him a racial slur. Thankfully, it was all captured on video, and the assailant was arrested and wished he didn't do it. And we all watched that event many times, that scene many times. And Hunter, thank you for your courage. It was fantastic the way you handled it. Thank you. Please.
Every day I go to school, I always wear a red MAGA hoodie. If you follow my Instagram, you'll definitely see it all the time. I proudly wear my Make America Great Again hat every time I go out of my house. Although I will say this, Mr. President, I do have one problem with you, and that's that I only get to have you as my president for 6 more years.
Wow. Thank you. You know that our movement stands for patriotism, confidence, excellence, liberty, justice, support for our military, love for America, and loyalty to our nation and all of its people. We're together. We all stand together for American greatness. And even at such a young age, the members of your generation are proving that our hearts and souls are all wound together. We are unbridled in our love for our country. We are truly American patriots. Remember that. Keep America great. Right. The forces of political correctness want to silence conservative students to make you feel alone, marginalized, and isolated, and you are not. But you're not alone. The silent majority is silent no more. Your moment in the sun is just beginning. The story of America has always been written by everyday citizens who love their country so much they could not help but speak out. That's what happens. That's why these three young, incredible people came up here. Would you like to speak, Hunter? Yes, sir. You know, most people go, oh, I don't know, sir. Oh, maybe not. But these people, it's like all three of them. Ryan, you want to speak again, Ryan? Yes, sir, I do. Right? No, these are great people. These are people with courage. Many of them were young, barely older than all of you. George Washington was just 21 years old when he received his first military command. Decades later, he chose a 20-year-old Alexander Hamilton to be his top aide. Betsy Ross was 24 when she began sewing the first American flag. Amelia Earhart was only 23 when she took her first flying lesson on her way to becoming an aviation pioneer. Martin Luther King was 26 when he marched for justice through the streets of Montgomery, Alabama. General Dwight Eisenhower and General Douglas MacArthur were both in their early 20s when they graduated from West Point, never imagining they would someday save the world from tyranny. From the very beginning, America has been lifted even higher by the daring dreams of young Americans like each and every one of you. Now it's your turn to inspire our country. Your chance to choose greatness for America, because your time has come. Your time is now. The choices you make over the next few years will shape much more than your own future. They will forever shape America's destiny. Your choices, your leaders, your great leaders, you will be. Some of you in this room will be the great leaders of our country. A couple of you may be standing essentially here someday in a position where you can do so much. As long as you are confident in your values, as long as you are loyal to our citizens, as long as you keep faith in God above, there is no limit to what you will achieve. You are the ones who are lifting our nation in the very near future. And I have no doubt you will do it to soaring new heights. I have no doubt. I see the people in this room. There's greatness in this room. There's greatness in this room. Remember I said it. Someday you're going to think back to this day and you're going to say, you know, I remember President Trump saying there's greatness in this room. And you're going to be not only speaking about yourself, you're going to be speaking about others in the room who you know, who are going to rise to great heights with you. You are the ones who are bringing about the incredible rebirth of the American spirit. You are the ones who will make this moment a turning point, a true historical moment. This generation, your generation, will make the light and the glory of America shine brighter and longer and prouder than ever before. I want to congratulate you. You've had a long journey, but your journey has just begun. I want to thank you for being here. May God bless you, and may God bless America. Thank you. Thank you.